Hey, everybody. Oh, my goodness. We have a real one for you today. I am so excited about this topic. We were just talking about it in the backstage, and I've been really excited about this one coming up because I know that this is something that so many of us women need to hear as we start planning out all of our goals and stuff. And so today we're going to talk all about no more nice girl, the art of saying no. And I can't wait for you to meet our guest. She's going to be coming up right after this. Dr. Manuela Powell, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. So glad to be here.
Yes, I'm so glad that you're here as well. It's been a long time coming, and I couldn't wait to actually start having this conversation because I truly believe that it is something that we all need to learn how to do. And if you take a survey, so many of us don't know how to do it, which is saying no. So I'm glad that you're here and you're going to teach us how to do this today. But before we jump in, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am a former breast cancer surgeon who had kids really late in life. I had my kids at 42 and 44. And after I had them, I'm like, I don't want to work 15-hour days anymore. I actually want to raise my kids. So I decided to quit medicine, which was a long, not like, oh, this is how it is. But eventually found coaching and then decided to help women in this way because there's a lot of sickness that we end up getting into just by, for example, not knowing how to say no or just people pleasing or not having boundaries. So that's what I started doing.
I love it. And, to me, you just making that shift, like that's bravery, that's courage, right? I think we were talking a little bit about how just us making shifts in our lives takes courage and bravery. And so I think that's phenomenal that you shifted from medicine into coaching. Isn't coaching the best thing in the world?
It's the best. It's great. I really love it. Yeah. And I did love medicine too. I'm not going to lie. I loved surgery, but also I did not love everything that went around. I love the patients and I love the operating. And then there's all this other stuff that I do not love.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're like, gotta go. And like you, I had my babies. I had two more babies later in life as well, and I think 39 and 41. And so I'm with you on that. My daughter was like, well, why do you always have to be at your desk, right? And I'm like, that means I need to get up, that kind of thing. So, and that's us just listening to them, tell us what needs to happen, right? So, so what is your biggest superpower?
Oh man, my biggest superpower. I think it's two. I think I'm really a good shapeshifter.
Ooh.
Something that I do a lot. I think I'm able to, and I remember my now ex-husband asked me for a 5-year plan. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what I will, like, who I'm going to be in a year. Like, give you a plan. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, So I think that's something that I adapt well to change, and I'm able to make changes that some people are like, are you insane? What are you doing?
I love it.
Medicine to do something completely different.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I think it's a spice of life, honestly.
Right.
And honestly think though, like real talk, if more women had enough courage to do that, I think that they'd be ultimately happier.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Because a lot of times, and here you go to college and then you decide what to do. In Brazil, where I'm from, you finish school and then you start university. I don't know, law school, medicine, architect, whatever you're going to do. So basically at 16, you have to figure out what you're going to do, which is impossible. But a lot of people, wow, I spent this time and now I already did have my education, because then you finish school and you're like a baby, right? You're what, 22? I don't know. And then, well, this is my life now. And just having that flexibility to be to really have the bravery, as you said, to know that now that maybe that's not the path and I have to go back. Or for a lot of women, you get married and then you become a stay-at-home mom, and then, well, now it's too late. Now I can't start over. I don't want to do the thing that I did before, and now how I'm going to do
Mm.
something different. So for sure, I think if people had that a little bit more.
Yeah, you are
Yeah.
so right, which leads me into, my next question. And, I really want to know, what does the nice girl mindset mean, and why is it so common
Ugh.
among us women?
Yeah, so patriarchy is the answer. Let's go to it. I think most women, I don't know if every single one, but I would think most women who exist in this society will have some version, especially in our generation. I don't know. I know that the younger generations are changing that, but in our generation, I was raised to be the good girl, to serve others, to be nice, to be polite, to not rock the boat, to, just you can't say that. You're not, all those things that even though your subconscious mind knows, like, yeah, but sometimes, like, no, but I want to say no to this thing. And sometimes a very serious thing, sometimes a very silly thing.
Mhm.
It's so hard to say no. And then instead of just saying no, for example, I don't know, hey, can you bake these cookies for the PTA or whatever? I heard a friend the other day saying that she was guilt tripped into doing that. And I told her, I said, I would never be guilt tripped into that because I don't feel guilty about not doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that is the thing that society really hammered on women. If you don't do these things, if you're not a good woman, a good girl, then you're not good enough. And you're not, if you don't, I don't know, there's so many rules that we need to follow, get out of the womb of, like, here's the rule book. By the way, impossible to follow any
Mm.
of these standards, but you'll be judged as if everybody else does.
Yeah.
So I think it's really ingrained in us, and it's work to get rid of it. It's
Yeah.
really having to pay attention to what you're doing, how you're behaving, how you're talking to people, how you're talking to yourself, so that you can change.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You know, you're right. And all these messages are saying the same thing to us,
Mhm.
right? Like, all these messages are saying that you have to be the good girl. You have to, show up, and you have to be on the PTA and the PTO, and you got to bake the cookies. And if not, then you're actually bad. If you're not doing these things,
Yeah.
you're actually not a good mom or a good person or a good wife or a good whatever. And I'm just like,
Yeah, but you know what the worst part is? If you are the PTA mom that does all the things, then people are like, oh, you live for your kids and you have no life. You can't win. Like, you legitimately cannot win. If you're stay-at-home mom, you're bad. If you work all the time, you're bad. If you kind of have life balance, you're bad at everything. I don't know. It's impossible to win. And I think that is my entire point when I tell people you can't people please, because there's no way that you're going to please people. So might as well just follow what you want to do, not to be a bad person and not to be, horrible
yeah,
to others, but just to
yeah,
really, okay, what do I want to do? What I have the capacity to do?
yeah.
And how can I help people in a way that is not giving everything away from me?
But have you found that part? Because in my coaching and stuff like that, I feel like that part is the part that's hard for women to do a lot of times, is to try to figure out what it is that they want
Yes.
versus
Yes.
pitting ourselves against everybody else in our lives, and even other people who we see who are successful, and we're like, oh, well, maybe we want that, or maybe we want this, versus taking this unit of analysis for ourselves and be like, okay, for real, I don't want none of that, but I want this over here.
Yes, it's absolutely one of the, I think, the step one for everything, and I have steps for all the things, and steps to stop people pleasing and creating boundaries, and for every other thing, step one is the awareness. And I
Mm,
think for that, for boundaries and people pleasing, we really don't know a lot of times. Not even that you don't know what we want. We just don't know that our boundaries are being crossed, because we don't know what we want, because we're told you were supposed to want to get married, have babies, and have a career, but also have your, be super skinny and be, shiny and beautiful and all. I was like, maybe I don't want that. Maybe you don't want to have kids. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to go live in the woods and, I don't know, make baskets. I don't know. a lot of times we don't get that chance
Yeah.
to even figure that out, because once you start doing the things, I don't know, you go to college or university, it's like, well, everything just piles up, and then you have kids, and then it's like, well, now you don't have time to figure
Yeah.
that out.
Ah,
So for the awareness, it's especially with the boundaries, which is a big part of the saying no. There is this author, Nancy Levin. She wrote this great book, Setting Boundaries Will Set You Free. Highly recommend it. She says that there's one thing called boundary blindness, which means your subconscious knows your boundaries, be it your physical boundaries, be your emotional boundaries, everything. But because society tells you you need to be the good girl, you need to serve others and all of that, your conscious mind actively blocks it. So the first step is to do an inventory. What are the boundaries that are being crossed? Because boundaries are our responsibility, not other people's. So we need to figure that out. Where am I allowing people to cross my boundaries because I'm saying yes to things, or I'm just allowing things to happen, which is basically saying yes to things that I want to say no to. And she also she goes forward and says, you need to start noticing, for example, she calls it the green, the yellow, and the red zone. Green zone, everything is fine, you're having a good experience, so probably there's no boundaries around you. Yellow zone is an experience kind of like, that feels a little sketchy, or I'm not sure if this is good or bad. There's probably a boundary around it. It's going to kind of getting close to it. In the red zone is clearly a bad experience. Some boundary has been crossed. And sometimes the boundaries that your physical boundary, you stubbed your toe, and that's a physical, but you don't want that, but you don't have control over that. Or I don't know, traffic is horrible, and you don't have control over that. So we tend to think, oh, bad experience is always a boundary being broken, but bad experiences are part of life.
Yeah.
Yes, but there are some of them that you do have control over, and those are the ones that we just, oh well, everything is terrible, so I can't have control over anything, which is not true.
Oh my God. You said something that just stuck out to me, which is boundaries are our responsibility, right? I always like to say our response is our responsibility, how we respond to things as well. But I love boundaries are our responsibility, because I think a lot of times we feel like people should know my boundaries. I mean, I've had that before. Like, no, they should know, because I wouldn't do that. Like, oh my God, like it's almost like my husband, I'm like thinking he can read my mind and he should know these things, but he don't know unless I tell him.
No, and that is another one of the steps, which is telling people you need to communicate your boundaries. And even if you've been in a relationship for 30 years with someone and they've been broken this one boundary that you never put in place because they should know. No, they shouldn't. Nobody has a crystal ball. You're different people. Nobody should know anything. And that is a surefire way to mess up a relationship, is to think, oh, if they loved me, they would know. That is the most terrible thing you can think. Instead of being, oh, they love me, so they'll be okay with me telling them that I need this thing. And if they absolutely cannot give you this thing, and it's really a good relationship, you need to find a way around it. Okay, how can I get this need met with someone else, with a friend, with I don't know what, depending on what it is, you can have, and something silly like I love hiking. I don't. But let's say like I love camping, which I also don't. And I am the person who doesn't. Well, my partner needs to go do that with someone else, not with me, because I'm not going to feel that, right? And that's a silly example of how you can't put everything in one person, and you should definitely, every time you think that, oh, they should know, just go and tell them, because maybe they really, really don't, because it's not important to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that other people are not aware that's going on with you, that if you don't tell them, they just don't know. Oh my goodness. If you are joining us live here on the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show, feel free to drop your name in the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you have any questions, we are here to answer those as well. So, Dr. Manuela, tell us when you learned, or of a time where you actually had to learn how to definitely say no in your own personal life.
Oh man, so many. First of all, I have kids, so let's start there.
Let's start there.
It's amazing how much no you have to say, but I would not even go there. I would say one thing that to me was interesting was to notice when I started noticing the boundaries thing and saying no and learning to say no, that it was so easy to say no, for example, to the PTA or for random people or for things in my business or friends. And then there's like, okay, there's this one person that I can't. Or this other person. So it was like at the end was like there's like 2 or 3 people that I to this day still have to police myself. That I have to be okay. I need to really pay attention. And an example that happened this week. My ex-husband asked me, "Hey, I need something that was in my house that he wanted to borrow." And I was like, "Hey, so I need this for Monday. Can you drop it off at my house?" And I have to stop every single because I was super busy with the kids. Each had their play dates and stuff. So I'm driving them around. I would be somewhere close to his house, but it was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm super busy with these kids and it was raining buckets. I'm like, that's the last thing I want to do. I always have to pause with some people specifically and be like, I'm already like texting. Yeah, sure, I'll leave it. And then like, wait. You have like 30 minutes in between this one thing and this other thing. He can come here. He knows the code to the door. Just come here, leave it out. I'm like, okay, I got it for you. It's there. No, you can come here and get it. But it really takes it out of me. So that is something that I think it's important to notice that you need to identify, again, awareness. You need to identify who are the people that I have the hardest time saying no to. And then you have to police yourself. You have to pause before you reply. You can even say, I'm not ready to answer that. I do that to my kids a lot when they ask for, I don't know, can I have my iPad, whatever, today for 3 hours? I'm not ready to answer that question. You need to wait. And I'm going to decide. A lot of times you need to, okay, let me figure it out. I don't know. I just picked you up from school. You literally didn't say hi to me and you're already asking me that. Wait.
Of course they are.
I think that is a very important thing to identify those people and be very mindful of when they ask you for things.
Yeah. I love that. I used to, when my mom was living, I mean, of course, she was the person that was most hard for me to say no to, for all kinds of reasons. Of course, and she was also the person that could make me the maddest in the whole wide world. I mean, at the same time, and so it was like a double whammy, and everything. But I love that you pointed that out because there are always going to be certain people that are going to be hard for us to say no to. And I love what you said is that what you do is you pause for a minute and you think about it, because with those people, a lot of times we're reactionary.
Yes.
Right. Like, it's like, oh, sure. Cause you love them or you care about them and, and you want to, please or whatever. And so it's just super reactionary versus us thinking, wait a minute, I got a whole lot of stuff going on. I really honestly don't even have time to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, we really think that sometimes that, oh, I love this person, so I want to say yes to them and I want to help them and all that stuff. But the thing is, if you keep saying yes when you want to say no to people, you will resent them. There is no way around it. Even if you're not doing it for time, I'm going to do this for you and now I'm expecting something. This is not conscious.
Yeah.
But what is conscious, like, well, I do all this stuff for this person. And then when I ask for them, like, they don't do it for me. I had several clients have that exact same thing. This one woman, she was a nurse and she's always covering for other shifts. And then she got so mad when people said no to her because they're taking care of their time and she can't do that because she wants everybody to like her. And I was like, well, do you realize that you're mad at them for doing the thing you want to do and you don't, and you totally can. You literally just have to say no and you don't have to justify it. You can just say, no, I can't. End of story, right? Obviously, if someone is in the horrible emergency and you want to help them for sure, do that. But then you can also say, hey, sure, I'll do that for you. Can you cover for whatever other day for me?
Yeah.
If that's going to be sort of that negotiation, because resentment is poison and it will kill your relationship. It doesn't matter what it is. At some point, you're going to be mad at that person and it's not even fair to them because they don't know. They ask you and you said yes. And you're like, well, but I always say yes to you. And I was like, well, yeah, I didn't put a gun to your head.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm getting my needs met. Like, and that's what it is. But we always want people to respond like we would respond. And that's just not how the world works, right? Yes. So now we didn't have that resentment. Camilla, thanks for joining us. Camilla's joining from VA. And she says, Dr. Manuela, do you have any tips for combating mom guilt and how to make sure you don't say no to the wrong thing that could limit you from a career perspective.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay, maybe I need a little more information on what exactly does that mean, mom guilt and the career perspective. Is that like meaning
I think
leaving
those
your
two different, I
kids?
think it's probably two different
Yeah,
questions, maybe. So the mom guilt is one, and then making sure you don't say no to the wrong thing that would
yeah.
potentially help you advance in your career.
Okay, so mom guilt. Here's my potentially unpopular opinion. Maybe you can't get rid of it. I don't know if there's a way to get 100% rid of feeling guilty because, again, of the society we live in and all the things we hear. So, in my case, the example I gave about the baking cookies or doing anything for the PTA, I don't do anything. Like they want money, like here's money, but I'm not gonna go and do that because I decided consciously that that doesn't make me a good or bad mom. I decided that there are some people who love doing that and
Mhm.
they have time in their lives. So I'm going to let those people do that.
There was an article real quick about that called the Venmo Mom. And she was like, I don't want to volunteer. I don't want to make cupcakes.
I'm the
I don't want to
Venmo
do
mom.
any of this. She's like, I will be a Venmo mom all day. And
Yep.
I responded like in terms of like, journalism. I'm like, I think people should be able to be a Venmo mom or a
Yeah.
PTA mom if they want to and not feel guilty about either one of them. But you
But
made me
here's the
think
th-
about
but here's the thing, the feeling guilty part, because the feeling guilty is very important because it's not something that's other people. It is because other people put that in you, but
that.
you have to make that decision. One other thing that happened recently was my kids really wanted to have a sleepover in my house, and I had to sit them down. I'm like, I am not ready to have sleepovers in my house because I'm a horrible sleeper. I'm gonna get nervous that some other kid is. You guys want to go sleep over at your friends that their moms are fine? Great, I'm down, but and they're like, for 5 minutes they were disappointed and then they were fine. Like their lives continued. So I think a lot of the mom guilt in all the things is because this thing that I'm gonna do, this is gonna be horrible. They're gonna be so sad. Their lives are gonna be ruined. Well, listen, we're going to mess it up for sure. So it's really sitting with you and being, what are the things that make me real guilty? Is it not showing up to the PTA? Is it not letting my kids have a sleepover? And then you go in your mind, why do I feel? You just keep asking why until you get to the bottom of it, which is the thing. Oh, maybe, because then the other moms are going to think I'm whatever. Okay, I'm cool with that. My kids go to scouts, and I told my ex-husband, like, I go to the meetings and stuff, but I am not gonna volunteer for anything. And there's a group of people, and they take the list, everybody volunteers except me. And I'm just there. I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth. I'm sorry. Just like, nope. And they can think whatever they want to think about me. I know that I'm not a bad person or a bad mom because I'm not volunteering. And that is the part, that is the work that you have to do, is the part with you believing I don't need to be guilty, because there are things that we will, right? We're going to have to say no to things. Sometimes, I don't know, I don't have the money to give. Like that makes you feel guilty. Like there's really not a lot you can do about it.
Right.
Or you can't because your friend doesn't want and I can't for whatever. Like there's some things that are going to be out of our control. So I think that's why I said there's some level of guilt we will have. I think it comes with the job, but I think we put so much more because of the expectations, and that part we can get rid of. So we can keep just the guilt of I'm not spending enough time with them because it should be every single second, which is nobody wants that. Right? Not them.
No. Oh, my son wakes up this morning at 4 o'clock. Mom,
Same.
Mom, my tooth came out. My tooth came out. And I was like, what? I'm like, trying like, what? He's like, oh, never mind. It was just a Lego.
Exactly. So there will be things that are going to be like, what in the fresh hell is happening right now? Right. So there are some things that we will feel bad about. Maybe you get mad at, my son also woke up at 5 a.m. today. He's like, I'm awake. I'm like, wait, this is awesome. Go sit in front of the TV because I'm not awake. I'm going to stay asleep.
Exactly.
And that is something that I used to make myself really feel bad about. But then I was like, okay, in the big scheme of things, how bad is this really? But in your brain, not what society or the Instagram people
Mhm.
say. That is the important part. And I think for the second question is sort of the same thing, because how do you know to not say no to opportunities that might be good? You you really have to know yourself better. I think that is the thing that as moms, especially in the beginning with little kids, we kind of, I don't know, what is my favorite flavor of ice cream? I don't know, the one that they don't eat the entire thing and then I eat whatever. I don't know, right? So you really have to be like, dude, is this something that I really want? And learn to translate your body's language to you. What is
Mhm.
your body telling you? Is this a no or a yes? You, if you start doing that, you will start to notice more how to answer things immediately. Just get some stuff that you know for sure you love. Oh, I love going to concerts and watching live music. Feel how your body feel when, okay, if someone asks me now, hey, I have tickets for this one band that you love, how would you feel? And then start going smaller until you can find the yeses and nos for all the things.
Mhm.
You need to learn to read that
Ah,
in your
I love that. I love that. And I wholeheartedly agree that, knowing ourselves is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves at the end of the day, right? And it sometimes it takes us to strip away just everything else to just get down to it. So we don't have a lot of time left, but I wanted to, tap into some more of those steps. And so, in order for us women to stop being the freaking nice girl and start saying no when we need to say no, give us some steps to actually do that. I know you started with awareness. You also said
yeah.
speak up, but I do want to, get it.
So, yeah, so awareness step one, just know what are you doing, how you are giving away your personal responsibility. Just really take a, inventory of where you're doing this. Step two, this is the hard one, is making peace with the fact that people are not going to like this.
Mhm.
They're going to like it. And it might sound like they don't like you, and it's okay. You need to be okay with people being wrong about you. That is very, very important. And you're just being like, you know what? You think I'm a bad mom because I don't bake cookies for the PTA? Okay. All right. Maybe I'm a bad mom, but that's not why. Does not make me bad. So that is, really deciding, do you want to be the person who does everything for everyone and run yourself ragged, or do you want to have genuine relationships? Do you want to know my friends know that they can invite me to anything and I will say no when I don't want to go?
Mm.
Very easy. So this makes for more genuine relationships. The third step is to practice assertive communication. Things that you should not say are, oh, I'm real quick. I just want to, the word just, like, eliminate that word from your vocabulary and stop apologizing. Stop apologizing. Oh, I need this because, I can't go because this thing. And then, my dog died and now whatever. And then like, listen, no, I can't. I'm actually not available that day. That's the end of the story.
Mm.
And have your own back. That's step 4. You have
Mm.
your own back, because when people push back and people say, try to negotiate your boundaries are not negotiable. You can say, hey, this is where my boundary is. Not giving ultimatum. There's a wrong way and a right way to do that. The wrong way is like, hey, you can't speak to me like that. Stop it. Like, that is not a boundary. The boundary is, hey, when you speak to me like that, I feel disrespected. And next time you do that, I'm going to hang up the phone or leave the room. And then you have to, obviously, you have to leave the room or hang up the phone. You can just not.
Right. You got to
That
follow
is the
through.
part of having your back. You say that, you actually do it. Not to punish people, but to protect yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And finally, the final one, step 5, is to cultivate the self-love and compassion towards yourself. Because
Mm.
all of this is all about self-love. It's just how you are respecting your needs and wants, and having the people who love you, who maybe not know that you need those things, and giving them a chance to actually be there for you. And some
Mm.
people won't, and you have to make peace with it.
Yeah. Oh my God. So good. Y'all, did y'all hear it? I hope you did, because she just ran down the steps to help us all learn how to say no, reclaim our power, reclaim our life, our energy. If we've been giving it all away. This is so good. Any final words you would like to just share with the Dr. Kiki Ram fam?
I would say, as a former cancer surgeon, this is one of the best things you can do for your health. not
Mm.
only for your happiness, but for your health. I used to work with breast cancer, and I saw these women that did everything right. They ate the kale, they did the Pilates, they did other things, but they didn't say what they wanted to say. They said yes to everything. And here they were, 40 something in my office. So don't be that person. Learn to take care of yourself so that you don't have all the crazy mysterious symptoms. Oh, my gut stuff, my hair falls and whatever, nobody can diagnose. Try having boundaries and saying no, and do more things that you love, and see how that goes.
Woo! Drop the mic. I love it. Well, tell people how they can get in touch with you, anything in terms of like what's up with you. And because I just think that always sharing the love is always important.
Yeah, absolutely. My website is my name, manuelapowell.com, and I am on all the social media as Dr. Dr. Manuela Powell. So it's easy. It's just my name. You should search for my name, you'll probably find me. And I
Check
would
her
love
out.
to connect. If you're here and you want to send me a DM saying, what do you think? And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it today. No more nice girl. We're gonna have to learn how to say no, especially with the new year coming up. Okay. And if you are a woman who really wants to truly tap into your purpose, learn how to find the career that you're ultimately passionate about and also make more money while doing it, I ask you to join us in the Thrive Society. You can go to kikiramsey.com to find out all the information about Thrive Society. We'd love to support you. I'd love to support you in the coming year to reach your goals and to up level in your career. All right, y'all. Y'all know what I always say. You have the power to create your own happiness. So go out there and make it happen. Peace.